AA5.3 Transformations of square root functions. Transformations will work the same as before. The only thing we're changing is our parent function, y equals x squared. So to review, A is a vertical stretch or compress, B, horizontal stretch or compress, H, horizontal translation, it's left or right, K, vertical translation, so that's up and down. So we have a table for our parent function to use for examples 1 and 2. So for example 1, I've already described our transformations. You can see here the K, the vertical translation, 3 units down. Inside our H, so that's horizontal translation, that's going to move 1 unit to the right. So now we want to make our equations for x and y, and then we'll plug in the values from our parent function. So let's start with y. So with y, the values are going to stay the same. We want to remember y is our vertical, so we need a and k. Remember, when a number's not written, we say it's 1. So it'll be 1y minus 3. For x, we're going to take the values that are inside, so the b and the h. And again, if it's not written, it's 1. Now, for the multiplied value, for the inside, we need to do the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1 is 1. And then we want to do the opposite operation here. So since this is minus 1, the opposite is plus 1. And then from here, we just plug in the values from our parent. Plot our points. So this is the graph of y equals square root of x minus 1 minus 3. All right, so example 2, we do the same way. So that negative gives us a reflection over the x-axis. 2 is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. 2 on the inside, which remember we need to do reciprocal. So this will be a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/2. A translation left 1 and translation up 4. So let's write our equation for x and y. I'll do y first. Remember, y is vertical, and those values stay the same. So minus 2y plus 4. And then our x values, so when you do reciprocal, and then opposite. Again, we'll plug in our values from our parent. So let's plot our points. Now, one way to remember or to find where you start after you've plotted your new points, remember the origin. When you plug it in, it becomes your new origin. So that tells us our starting point, or our origin, is now at -1, 4. So we'll start here and draw our graph. Okay, so now we're going to write the equation given the description, or in general, y equals a square root b times x minus h plus k. So vertical stretch by a factor of 4. It's going to be our a. Horizontal compression by a factor of 1/5. And here we're going to do the reciprocal. Reflection across x, so reflection going to be a negative. Translation 3 units to the right. So if we're going to the right, we'd be going in the positive direction. The inside is opposite, so we need to make it -3. And then we're going to do 6 units up, or +6. So B and C, we're going to write the equation given a graph. The instructions say to assume any stretch or compress is vertical. So if all stretch and compress is vertical, it means it's all going to be A values. It's another way to say that our B values are 1. So for B and C, we're going to say B is equal to 1. So that means our equation will just be y is equal to a square root x minus h plus k. So our strategy is going to be find the origin, which is going to give us the hk, find one other point on the graph, it'll give us xy, plug in, solve for a. So for b, this is our parent function. So this is y equals square root x. We want to write the equation for our transformation. So we're going to identify the origin. And that gives us our hk. And then we need one other point. Just find a nice one. That looks good. 1, 0. And that's going to be an xy. Plug in your xy hk. And we want to simplify, solve for a. Right, so we found that our A value is 1. Last step, write the equation, include your H, your K, and your A value. Remember to leave X and Y as variables. So X minus H, or minus a minus 3, so we get plus 3. And then plus K, or plus negative 2, so minus 2. Right, so we're going to do C the same way. We want to identify the origin, find one other point. Let's say we're counting by 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 2. So I'll use that as one of my points, so that's 5, 2. That'll be my XY. Then my origin is 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, halfway 5. So again, we're going to plug in HKXY into the original. So Y is equal to A square root X minus H plus K. So we found our A, we can write our equation.